Meeting's being recorded. Okay, sweet. So I wanted to kind of go over a few things. We posted on the West March Facebook page just to kind of, I wanted to get a survey and a feel for how everybody is feeling about coming back out and meeting in person, because I know for me, I've gotten used to being like by myself and in my house and not really interacting and being as social, and AmpGuard's a social group. And I may have a little trepidation and kind of insecurity about going back out into the real world. And I don't really know how that's going to be. The only thing I know is it's not going to be what it was, but I don't know how it's going to be. So my goal for this month, and kind of extending to the rain, is to figure out how we're going to start that recovery and coming back into AmpGuard. And I'm going to start with a better safe than sorry approach. I'm not comfortable with saying, let's just go balls out and go back to normal, because I don't think that it's going to be normal. And if we relax the guidelines, awesome. If things get shut down again, then I'm comfortable that I haven't been too cautious. So that's kind of my perspective, because I know there were a couple people that posted about, anxiety and kind of and that kind of thing. And I want to make sure that that's heard and incorporated into what we do. So my agenda for tonight is I wanted to go over the opening document that I posted on in Facebook, and just kind of go over a few things with us as Monarch, because Monarchs are going to be in charge of the parks that are meeting again in person, and it's really pretty much up to them, and then the PM for the attendance and documentation. So I'm not sure, I was reading today that the color codes are going to go away. It looks like pretty much all of California is orange, and a lot of it's still yellow and a few more yellows, but excuse me, pretty much orange, which is good, but there's going to be no color coding. And so I can't really rely on that as far as getting like a heartbeat on hot spots and those kinds of things. So what we're going to do, there's federal guidelines, but the local and state guidelines are going to supersede CDC and federal guidelines. So as Monarchs, we're going to have to be in touch with the counties that we play in and the parks that we're meeting at, as far as what their guidelines are and what their requirements are. So for example, at TR, they're starting to open up things again, but we're going to have to really be aware of who is where and how close are we to other groups, as well as within our group. So that's going to be up to you guys to monitor and to be responsible for. My goal is to provide an oversight, but I am not the COVID police, and I am not going to go around from land to land and nitpick. So I trust you guys are able to do that. And if you have any problems with that or any questions, I also trust that you'll come to me by messenger or whatever and check in with me, or even better, maybe the Monarchy chat, because then the other Monarchs can benefit from that. Okay. The reason that I said parks will physically meet no more often than every 14 days is there still is the 2 to 14 day quarantine period. I need to honor that. I'm not comfortable meeting every 7 days, and I want that to include fighter practice. So if you have somebody that goes to fighter practice on week 1 and then goes to park day on week 2 and then goes to fighter practice on week 3, I kind of consider that meeting weekly. Again, I'm not going to be the COVID police. It's going to be up to individual responsibility, and then Monarch kind of oversight. And then if you need anything, you bump it up to me. The proof of vaccination, I don't know that we can require proof of vaccination.
Legally, we can. Legally, we can, because we are a nonprofit.
Okay. I am going to
even without a nonprofit, legally we are a private organization, and we can require whatever the hell we feel like.
Okay.
We require waivers already, which include PII. Like the level of personal information required for asking for a COVID vaccination is actually less than the information we already take
Exactly.
standard.
Okay.
Because I mean, on our waiver, we ask for their birth date, their email address, stuff like that. The
Their
COVID
driver's
vaccine
license number.
literally,
We record,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we
right,
record
yeah.
your ID number.
like,
So,
if people really are having that much issues with it, they can take a photo of it. So long as their name and the dates of the vaccines are on there, fine, whatever.
right, and I don't know about the personal information being redacted, but I'm trying to kind of find, for right now, until I get a feel for how it's gonna go, taking a middle of the road approach to people that are anti-vaxxers and anti-maskers, and they want to vaccinate and they have their vaccine. So that's kind of where a lot of this is coming from until I get a feel for how it's going to be. So if people want to choose to be vaccinated and they're vaccinated, then they can show their card and it'll go on either a waiver, or if the PM wants to make a separate list and keep it,
I think
then they
that'd
can
be
do that.
easier.
I think that'd be easier. So we had that on site.
Yeah, we kind of need to have a list for contact tracing. Go ahead.
We actually, so for, if we're concerned at all about personal information, documenting who has and hasn't been vaccinated actually causes more issues. It would actually be significantly easier if we just simply required them to show it every time they came to Park Day, especially if we're only doing it every 14 days.
That's true.
Yeah, I like that.
A better place.
I mean, like, I
don't
know about you guys. I carry mine on me. It stays in my wallet.
I haven't got mine yet, and it's not because I'm not anti-vaccination or anything. I'm waiting for a specific shot to come out because my brother-in-law, he gives out the shot for Walgreens, and he gets a lot of the information as a lot of these vaccinations come out, and he has told us one that works with multiple strain of COVID.
Yeah.
And that's the one I'm waiting for.
I've heard about that too. Yeah.
That's the one I'm waiting for.
And that's understandable.
Yeah. So maybe
I still taking precautions and everything, but I am planning to get it.
All right. So maybe I will amend. Let's see how it goes the first week. And then I think I'll amend it to say for the next time we come out, you're just going to have to bring your card with you and show proof of vaccine.
Heck, either show it to one of the monarchy members.
Remember, under your guidelines, all proof of vaccine does is make it so you don't have to wear a mask.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I understand that. And again, I'm kind of going through this, like, I'm like starting at the starting gate and kind of figuring where we're going to go. And if things work out really well after Memorial Day and 4th of July, then I'll probably back off a little bit.
Fingers crossed, people aren't stupid.
But I'd rather I'd rather have somebody judge me for being too strict,
right,
than for just opening up and then having to close parks. So, but that being said, please tell me your opinions and tell me what you think, because I will incorporate that into what I do. It's really important. Okay.
Like I told you before, I agree with that, but at the same time, it has me worried because of the simple fact it's been like 100+ degrees and whatnot. And my part, we get open spots and everything, and we get one of the fields that we use is like a freaking oven because it's mostly dirt. And I'm worried about people getting heat stroke and everything. So I talked to my monarchy, and we discussed this whole thing Saturday. And one of the things that we came up with is we're going to recommend that you have a mask if you're not vaccinated to have a mask, but we're not going to enforce it, because I do have a few people who are not healthy, like myself included, that I'm worried that they will have a heat stroke or whatever. And yes, I'm concerned about myself as well, but I'm more concerned with my people of having heat stroke. And if they don't feel comfortable of wearing a mask on field, I don't feel like I should enforce it.
Yeah, like at TR, the way I'm doing it is while fighting, they do not have to wear a mask so long as they're not being dumb.
Right. That's what we were going to do. And then in Nirvana, you have to have a mask.
Yeah. So you had something you wanted to say?
Who?
A couple
Office.
things.
Not
So-
you, Dargon. I am so bad with names.
A couple things. So it is really hard to say we're being overly cautious and then ignore everything.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
because I feel like that's what we're saying right now is that we're being overly cautious. Oh, but by the way, we're not going to enforce vaccines and we're not going to use masks. And so, like, why are we being like?
I see that point
I
too.
made this argument on the chat. For 16 months now, we have said, listen to the experts constantly. That's how we got all of our redneck friends to do the right thing. Listen to the experts, listen to the experts. All right. But now, all of a sudden, we're saying, we're going to be more cautious than the experts, which bothers me on a whole level. But then both of you guys plan on not listening to the experts for your personal park stuff on the other end of the spectrum. So like,
if they're vaccinated, not wearing masks, I have had some pushback on this decision. In Nirvana, I want people wearing masks, and I've had several people flat out say they will not come out to park. But I'm sorry,
you want vaccinated individuals to have a mask on off the field. Just clarify.
Yeah.
You want vaccinated individuals to have masks off the field.
The reason why we're saying on and off the field, that way people can breathe easier.
Right, but I'm significantly like, okay, if we're actually figuring out tracing of the virus,
right,
you are significantly more likely to encounter a situation where the virus can be transmitted on the field than you ever are off the field. That's putting
true.
aside the idea.
Yeah.
That's putting aside the idea that a vaccinated individual is 98% likely to not even catch it if they encounter it. And then even if they do catch it, the last study I saw was 70% that they can't, that they won't be able to transmit it to anybody else. So,
right.
like, numerically, the likelihood of a vaccinated individual transmitting to another member of your park is less likely than them getting hit by a car going to park.
That's
So
valid.
what you're saying is that perhaps if in Nirvana, I heard somebody say it's just the area where fighters go to rest. And Nirvana to me is people that are sitting around in chairs talking as well as fighters going to rest. So kind of what you're saying is, you know, maybe with social distancing in Nirvana, you don't need to wear a mask.
If you are vaccinated, like, again, I'm
Non-vaccinated people.
very
Yeah.
strict. I'm very much following state and federal guidelines. After the 15th, if you are vaccinated, you are not required to wear a mask ever. At all. You can go to the store without a mask. You can go to church without a mask. Social distancing disappears as far as state mandates go. Groups, like outdoor groups up to 10,000 are
Right, the
authorized.
mega events.
Which scares the living heck out of me.
So here's a question that I have to you. If we have vaccinated and unvaccinated, and kind of I've started to employ it, but not as thoroughly as that. You have vaccinated people and they don't have to wear masks, and they don't have a chance of spreading it in that. But then in parks, you have unvaccinated people as well that are going to need to require masks, and whether they're fighting or in Nirvana. So the PM, they come and they sign in and they show their card and they're checked off. How does the GMR and how do the other people tell vaccinated versus unvaccinated? How do I know that unvaccinated guy X is not wearing a mask because he doesn't feel like wearing a mask? versus the
As you
vaccine.
were
I
saying
mean, how do
earlier,
you do wristbands? How do you do that?
I think risk
you
might
just
be
keep
the
track of
best.
it.
Yeah.
Like, no one's going to have more than, like, let's say that my plan that I was talking about for doing a mass invite to my very first practice in order to try to get as many as I want, even if I have 50 or 60 individuals show up, the number of people that aren't vaccinated are going to be less than 10, statistically speaking. Maybe more, maybe less. But those people are going to be wearing a mask from the moment they step on the field because they have to go through the PM in order to do that. And if they take off that mask, well, that's a pretty good indicator that they're not following the rules.
Yeah, but you don't. So I'm out on the battlefield and some guy walks onto the battlefield without a mask. How do I know that he's not vaccinated and just went over there and took his mask off before he came out on the field so he could breathe versus somebody who's truly vaccinated and it's okay and safe for me?
Well, no one should be on your field unless they've been through your PM that day, both for vaccination verification, sign in, and waiver verification.
Yeah, but
Like,
there's
Yeah,
that's-
but
gotta be a
everybody
way
else
to
is not gonna know who
discriminate them.
or isn't vaccinated.
There's got to be a way to discriminate them if you're just person X. Right.
My suggestion is when people go through the PM to sign in, instead of wristbands, because that can get costly, unless you make one that's reusable all the time, but you ain't got to worry about people returning them, is just take two different color markers back of the hand and just draw a circle, one color for vaccination and the other color for not, so that way people know who is and isn't vaccinated. So if somebody who's not vaccinated and they don't have mask off and they see they have the color from no vaccination, they're like,
That's
okay,
gonna
I'm
be
gonna stay away
hard
from
to
you.
see on the
No,
field.
no,
though.
no. You put a big V on their forehead.
In red lipstick, right?
Well, what do you think, Bacchus? What are your ideas?
I think all of that is completely unnecessary. Like, again, so if you got to reeve on the field, reeving the battle game or the ditch or anything like that, like, I'm keeping track of every single person that's anywhere near the vicinity of my people at any given point, because we play in public parks. Having Joe Schmucklet jump on my field or walk around in Nirvana is a theft issue. There's all kinds of issues that come out of that. So if I see somebody that hasn't signed in or isn't wearing a mask and I haven't verified that, like, my PM hasn't verified that they're vaccinated, then I just simply tell them that they're not welcome. Like, that's, and I don't have a problem looking my best friend in the face and being like, put on a mask or go the hell away. Like, I don't care. We have a very set of guidelines that are laid out by people that are significantly smarter than us. And if they're not following those guidelines, then that's simple. They don't get to participate, period. I don't care who they are. I don't care. Yeah, I don't care how important they are. If fucking Damos, my knight, walked onto my field and I was like, I need to see your vaccination card, and he didn't have it, he can leave. He can get his ass back in his car and drive back slow. I don't care, because that's the system we have in place. That's
Right.
the dictates that have been put out by people, again, that are significantly smarter than us, the CDC and the California State Health Department and stuff like that. If they're not willing to follow those guidelines, they can leave. And if they have a problem leaving, then I have several decent sized people that are willing to escort them to their car. And if that's still not going to happen, then I have no qualms calling the police, because this is simple. Like, for me personally, really simple. I don't let people wander around my group without being signed in, or at least acknowledging, working with the PM or the front gate, no matter how big I've gotten before. I make sure that that happens. So the idea of an unvaccinated individual taking off their mask or something like that, I personally don't, that's not going to be an issue for me at all, because I'm tracking all of that at any given time anyway. And if I'm not tracking it, then my champion is, or my prime minister is, or my other, regulars that are out every week. So again, if there needs to be, if other people need a system in place for that to be a thing, then totally fine. But again, if you're not going to require masks for unvaccinated individuals while fighting, whether because you feel like it's not worth it for heat issues or whatever, then all of that is pointless. Because the second we allow an unvaccinated individual fighting without a mask, your whole system falls apart. And
No, I
well
will not. No, I won't support an unvaccinated person fighting without a mask.
Yeah,
Bottom
I
line.
think there was,
I am willing to, I think that vaccinated, no mask, unvaccinated mask, kind of like black and white. I think that simplifies it. And I also, let me think about it. I also think that I would want a way to tell visibly who's vaccinated and who's not, just for GMR and for easy identification. So let's keep it, I'm going to keep it the same for the first couple weeks, but like I said, I'm going to revisit this, and I want to keep meeting with us so that we can see what happened, what's working, what's not working, and I'll probably amend it the beginning of July after I kind of see how things are going to go. So can we move on? Huh?
No one's going to be, so even if you're practicing this weekend, you're only going to have 2 park days before the 1st of July.
You know what? That's okay. I'm collecting opinions, and I'm,
No,
like,
sorry.
this was,
I was trying to say, like, people aren't going to be missing out by taking it slow like this. Like, that was the point I was trying to make. I wasn't trying to like there's, if with these restrictions in place, and this was as much of a reminder for me, who has been adamantly about all the things, that's still only 2 park days. For us, that's 1, because we're not starting until like the 27th or something like that.
Yeah, mine will
So-
probably not the 26th.
and that's kind of my
26.
goal is, let's meet back, let's see what works and what doesn't. And then, let's work together to get through the next 6 months and see what's going to work and what comes in that we can't predict, and make it reasonable, but make it safe.
And one reason why we're going to start the 20th, of course, I'm going to have a vote to see what everybody feels at my land.
Okay.
But more like we're going to do the 26th. And the reason why we're doing 26, and I'm probably the same reason why Bacchus is, so that way we can skip the 4th. That way we're not having a park day on the 4th.
That's up to you guys. I don't care. And that's kind of part of it, is like, I'm the umbrella, and then it's
Right.
up to you. So, but I want like feedback. So let's move
Right.
on.
Before you do that, I have one suggestion.
Okay.
Kind of go with what Bacchus was saying, because I agree with what he was saying and everything about how the monarchy should keep an eye on everything. I think whoever's the reeve during the game should also have a list of who is vaccinated. So
That's why
that way,
I'm saying some kind of identifying mark,
Yeah.
so you don't have to keep doing the listing. Let me think about that. I think that that's a really good idea.
because if they have a list, they can see who is not, and they see somebody that's not on the list and they don't have a mask on, they can tell that person you need a mask,
Right.
and everything.
All right. So, sign in. So, I want the PM or Monarch to be the only one who handles any writing utensils. So you don't have
Okay.
to disinfect the pen, and you don't have to go through 15 pens and all of that.
So the PM currently, are they just gonna do like an X for the signature?
Yeah, that's fine. Or they can sign their name, or what you decide.
Okay.
Does the
Because I'm
kingdom
leaving that
conform
up.
require a
I'm-
signature?
What was that?
Sign-in sheets require the
Does the
signature.
quorum
Remember,
require a signature?
I think
Then the PM can write the name of the person.
you know what else we could do? At the parks, we could still require the Discord sign-ins for the parks that have been doing the Discord.
You can do that too.
There's also
I'm
My,
gonna-
my park does Facebook chat.
all my people are signing in through the morgue. We're doing
Yeah,
everything
and
through
that's another thing. TR is gonna be looking at that too. And I know that there's a lot of other kingdoms that are using that. And,
it is a ridiculously useful resource.
okay.
What is
all right.
If you're not already using it, I highly suggest you download it like as soon as we get out of this call. It is
It's
I
the
heard
little
more.
chips. It's the chips that you use to scan and sign in. The issue that TR has currently
You don't even,
is,
you don't need chips. You don't need the scan codes. You don't need any of that. You can manually put it in. It's actually a significantly better interface.
I was hearing they're signing and using the morgue.
Oh, more.
The more,
Well,
Oh my
okay.
God.
people 2 hours of fighting after being off for a year and a half, and we might be
Yes.
using the board.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a mobile orc, and the thing is though, is the PM has to have a working phone and the app. So I'm just saying, okay. So
Hey,
maybe
working
not all maybe not all parks will have that, but I think that that's a really good idea. It kind of gets around
I'll
all
look
of the
into it
whole
for my
physical utensils and all of that.
No,
And
no,
so
the mobile orc.
mobile org. So I'm headed in that direction, Bacchus. I'm headed in that direction, and I haven't talked to any of the AmpGuard people yet, but I've got a connection with somebody who has given me information on that, and I'm getting there.
All right.
Because I think that that's a good idea. It eliminates all of the physical stuff, but for right now, the PM or Monarch handles any writing utensils to sign in. They'll sign in the name of the person. I'm using it on an honor system. It's like, hey, I'm so-and-so. Yeah, I recognize you. Sign in and write down their class and
Yeah.
their AmpGuard name. Healers get double credit. So make sure that you tell the PMs healers get double credit.
Right.
I think Johnny is going to come up with some battle games, and I'm not sure how he's going to do that or what he's going to do as far as like monster class credits and things like that, and battle game themes for the rain. But healers get double healer credits.
Nice.
We need healing. Bottom line.
Wait, do you mean like actual healers, like medical field in real life?
No, if you
Oh.
play a healer, you get a double credit.
Oh, okay, cool.
Not an event. This is weekly games.
Gotcha.
Hand sanitizer. And I said attendees may have their temperature checked. If lands want to buy a thermometer and do that, they can do that. Especially if they want to do it for unvaccinated people. That's up to you guys. Okay. And then there's this item here about if anybody's found to be positive, then the park's going to get closed for 2 weeks and there's testing.
Right.
And I don't know that we need to go through that tonight. You can read that in the thing. Do you guys have any more comments on that? I really appreciate your vaccinated, unvaccinated, and how we're going to handle that. That really helps me a lot. So anything else? I have a couple other things that I just wanted to touch base on.
Yeah, that's fine. Everything sounds fine with me so far.
The only thing that I'm changing for my personal part, and this is due to the studies that have been done on physical tracing, I'm gonna have loners. Like my park is too new for me to build stuff for everybody, and I don't have a few $100s to be just handing out swords.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I can source the links to you folks if you'd like to see them. But somewhere 7 months ago or so, a significant number of studies came out that shows that COVID lives on surfaces significantly shorter than we initially anticipated.
I was looking at that today.
If we want to, we could get
Like
Lysol,
less than an
break the
hour.
weapon down, let it sit for 15 minutes. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
So I'm going to leave that up to you for right now. I kind of had recommended no loner weapons, and I'm going to stick to that. I would recommend that you disinfect the handles and that you wash the covers. You take them off and wash them. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've talked with my people, and we think wiping it down with a wipe on the handles and then spray it down with the Lysol for the covers and everything.
And the UV light and the survivability or whatever the word is on cloth and all of that. I was reading that today, and I'm going to reconsider that. I'm going to amend it as we go through this, but for right now, kind of what my idea was through June is no loner weapons, nothing shared. You can do demos only, and kind of a one-way trip if you want to give somebody a weapon to fight, which gets expensive. But And again, this is fluid. We're in a transition. Nothing's really black or white. I'm just kind of figuring we'll start here and then we'll work together. So, and then if you decide to go against what my recommendations are and it doesn't work out, then we'll find out. And if you do something different and it works out fabulously, then we'll all go for it. Okay?
Because one thing,
Because I really do believe that recruitment and getting new members is going to be critical in the next 6 months. And so I think that, in fact, recruitment and advertising is one of the other areas that I'm going to be working on. I was thinking more virtually, but I am going to add physical in person at
Yeah.
Park into that. And then you guys can come up with some creative ideas and we'll all share.
yeah, because that's one thing I talked with Kay about me and her getting together, since Misty Vale and TR are the amp guards of Sacramento, and Sacramento's so big. I think the two parks should help one another rebuild. So I was going to talk to her about doing some stuff together with the two
Definitely.
park to
Definitely.
rebuild both parks, because it's like, I don't see why we can't use one another to help each other build.
Yes.
Keep in mind, especially in the case of Misty Vale and TR, if you are doing 2 weeks between practices, that
Right.
means that one park or the other can't exist, or you're doing practices once every 4 weeks.
Right. I didn't think about that. That's a good point.
You can't do
So-
Misty Vale TR, and go to one each week, because then that's once every 4 weeks.
Because that's, yeah,
Right,
it
kind of like
eliminates
fighter
that,
practices,
essentially.
like I had said before.
Right.
Oh,
It's a problem we're running into with the majority of my park is cross gamers, and our Bell
Oh.
Park is opening.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. So you and I will talk about that, Dargon,
Yeah.
and decide which weekends we're meeting. I think TR decided the second and fourth weekends of each month.
Yeah, because like I said, my park was planned just to open up the 26th, and then we were just gonna go every other week from there.
What might be better is to do we'll talk after this.
yeah,
I'll
you
Yeah.
guys work it out between you and not tonight in the
I'll message you.
COM chat. Okay, so the other thing that I wanted to talk about, kind of moving on from that, is kind of what I had touched on before about we have all been in isolation for 14 months. And we've kind of adapted to meeting each other and interacting with each other virtually. And now we're going to be coming out with all of the feelings and emotions on meeting in person, like the whole spectrum. So I wanted to just review the code of conduct. All right. And just kind of go through that again, just as monarchs, because we are responsible for the safety of our park. And we don't need to go through it in great detail, but basically, I just wanted to review it. So AmpGuard strives to maintain a fun, friendly, welcoming environment. So what we are going to look for that behaviors are not acceptable, and we may see more of them. Okay. So speech that would cause a reasonable person to fear for their property or safety, physical violence outside of the normal bounds of combat conduct, sexual harassment or inappropriate sexual contact, theft or willful destruction of other people's property, repeated unwillingness to follow game rules. In this case, it would probably be wearing masks or not wearing masks, because that's a personal safety issue, and creating a hostile environment detrimental to the enjoyment of the group as a whole. It is up to people, again, according to the rule of play, if they have a conflict, to try to work it out between themselves. Okay, if they can't work it out between themselves, then they ask for help. And a lot of times that's going to be the monarch. Okay, so I think we need to have practice kindness. I think we need to practice tolerance. I think we need to give each other a little bit of a break. But again, there's going to be a lot of emotions and stuff that's coming out onto the field that aren't just foam swords and masks and that kind of stuff. So be aware. Okay. If you need to reach out to me and let me know. I don't want to be the first, oh, hey, Joe and Sam or, Chris and Pat are having a conflict. I need your help. It's, try to work it out. try to let them work it out. If they don't feel safe working it out between themselves, then they need to reach out to you. And then if you have issues or you need guidance, then reach out to me. Okay. I'm here to hold you guys. I'm here to guide you. I'm not here to be your mom. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I want you to be creative and I want you to kind of hold your lands, but I'm here to hold you. Okay.
Something that my park has always done with something like that, and it's a lot of what you were saying, and we're probably going to continue doing, is every time we had a problem with somebody with arguing, we told them to leave Mistyville area, whatever, so they're not making Mistyville looking bad or whatever, and allows them to have their privacy and they talk out. But however, if they have still having a problem or whatever, the monarch usually will go in and help, but the monarch never went alone, because we always had we came across an issue where one of the monarch, like me, there have been times that I went talk to somebody and all of a sudden was like he say she said deal. So I always had like my regent or PM with me to back up what was said and everything. But we always try to have them fix their own issue first, but away from.
And I think that's a
the
really good
location.
idea. Yep. I think that's a really good idea to protect us, is have somebody else there as a witness. You know, if you get into that situation, have somebody there as a witness, because if somebody files a complaint, then we interview the witnesses as well. And so if you don't have a witness, like you said, it's he said, she said, but the witness or witnesses are people that are interviewed as far as if there's a complaint. Okay, so just kind of be aware of that. It's going to be really a weird time, and I didn't want to make a big deal out of it, but that was the whole reason why we posted, you know, how are you feeling, so that you could kind of get a general idea on, you know, where people are at coming out. I know there's going to be a lot of excitement. The other thing, speaking of that, is, and you mentioned heat and masks, water. If you guys have, you know, bring out a flat of water or something. Watch for heat stroke. I'll probably post signs of heat stroke on the West March Facebook page.
I'm gonna be
Are you
having.
changing that? Are you gonna change that recommendation on the actual sheet?
Change the recommendation, what?
Bringing
your
flat water
COVID
is not
restriction.
sharing water.
Yeah, your
I-
COVID restriction specifically
No, I said
don't
no
show
sharing water.
No,
And
a
we-
flat of
Right.
water. The individual water bottles. That's
Okay, that's
so I'm
that
probably gonna
might
be getting.
good to clarify.
Yeah, because the way I took it is we weren't allowed to even bring those. You know,
No.
Yeah, we
Oh,
weren't.
okay.
that's the
we
way
weren't allowed
I
to
took
provide
it.
Water at all.
Oh, I will clarify that. That's like a big no. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll clarify that. Thank you.
Yeah. Because I'm probably gonna be bringing the what you call it? I'm probably gonna be getting a, what do you call them? An ice crate. Oh my god. A
Igloo.
cooler. An igloo. There we go. An igloo, and getting just a 10-pound bag of ice. Yeah, one of those. One of those. And filling it. Are those okay to use, Jody? Are those okay to use?
Technically-
No.
Technically,
one
according
person-
to guidelines, that would be no, because you'd have people touching
Reaching
a
in.
single person.
And then it's like, okay, well, how long does COVID virus last in ice? Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
My goal was, if you to have flats of water and everybody has, you know, somebody hands out water. It's like, is this? So if we were going to have a feast, right? We wouldn't have a potluck, and we wouldn't have a buffet line. We would have somebody making food, right? And then handing out, here's your meal in a bag. So my idea was, if you need a bottle of water, here's a bottle of water.
Okay.
But I will definitely, I thank you for that, because my words don't always go down on paper and come out of my mouth the way they are in my head and my intention. So
That's
make
why I was
sure to-
asking you the other day, because some stuff just didn't make sense.
sorry, you
I
know, my
totally
mind is a really dangerous place to go into alone sometimes. And so And that's why it helps for me to kind of get your feedback and stuff. So, and to get clarification. So I will make sure to clarify that.
One thing I would recommend is to have some Sharpies on hand as well, so that way they can write their name on the bottle. So that way you don't have, was this my water bottle? Or was that your water bottle?
I think that's a really smart idea.
Okay, so that's a Monarch PM thing. You guys work it out.
Right.
And here's the thing, if you have ideas like that and you want to put them into the Monarchy chat or the West March COA, right? Throw all the stuff in there because obviously not everybody tonight can be here.
Right.
Okay, and they may not watch the video. If I can get the video posted into the chat as well. So throw comments in there, like the water and the Sharpies and. Okay.
I'm planning to have another meeting with my monarchy to pretty much go over what we just are going over today and everything for the changes and everything. And then I was going to make a video making all the announcements to my park so they know what's what.
Okay. That sounds great. And then probably my plan is I don't really have anything else that I was going to talk about tonight. Was to meet back, sometime soon after like 4th of July and see how things went and what needs to be changed and what worked and what didn't work. And then
Right.
kind of make a plan for July. I don't know what's going to happen 2 weeks after Memorial Day, and I don't know what's going to happen 2 weeks after July. I'm hoping that the 50.3 or 50.4% of the people that have been vaccinated have made enough of a difference
Wanna
that
set it up?
it doesn't really, matter, and we can continue to move forward. So anyway, that's kind of my plan. I don't have anything set in stone yet. I just wanted to make sure to meet tonight and see what support you needed and to get feedback. So
Right.
I would not put it on the edge right there,
did
baby.
you guys have anything else?
I put it right here.
Uh,
No, not really.
I profusely volunteer for October.
Yeah, so speaking of October, I'd like to head for an October single day event. I think that's going to be a really awesome idea. I have no idea yet what that's going to look like, but you are at the top of the list for hosting. Okay. I've had some other
for Metacrat per usual.
I've had some other people expressed interest in like games and food and that kind of stuff. So let me see how the next couple of months pan out. It's not going to be a West March event. It will be an event in West March. So we don't have to have bids or do anything like that. We can just make it happen.
I mean, I'm fine with just Clockwork Spires is hosting an event. And,
Same with Misty.
if
Same
anyone
with
would like to
Mistyville.
show up, you're more than welcome to.
All right.
Well, I'd be there. I'd be there in a heartbeat. I need my peoples. I miss my
Well,
peoples.
not right now.
Yeah.
It's a
I'm on my way.
Don't do it.
I'm kidding. No.
Bacchus, it's really good to see you back and see like your enthusiasm and like see Clockwork Spires being a thing again. It's exciting.
Yeah, I remembered when I went to go because I was put in charge of your guys' audit when I was DOD, and I'm like, I can't get a hold of anybody. Does this park even still exist?
We fell apart for a long time, and part of that was I was trying to serve two masters for a long time. I'm actually a knight equivalent in Bell. So I was helping with Battle for the Ring, running that, and crafting for people in that sport, helping my local monarchy for Bell. And I realized over the course of COVID that I love Amtgard, and I'm not necessarily ashamed to say that. I like the gameplay better, I like the structure better, and Belagarth can survive without me. So I'm gonna bury myself deep in this side of the house and like still see my friends and stuff, but this is going to be my primary game from here on out.
Awesome. That's exciting. I'm so happy.
This rain, Mistyville is
we're glad to
encouraging
have
role
you
playing
back.
more often now. So our private theme for the park is flurb. So we're planning to flurb out more and bring out more of the flurbing and the role playing of Amtgard out as well.
One of the things that I think works really well with that is and if you're looking for things to do on back to basic stuff, I eventually want to do a whole Kingdom Reign on it, but basically your character, like whatever your character is, if your character is a really
The
good
night
sword
one.
fighter and that's the end of your character, cool, whatever that may be. But like, I know we're going to be taking a big focus on your character and how it interacts with your class and how it interacts with your garb choices and stuff like that.
Same.
Because I want to be able to, like, I've seen you fight before, but I thought more Viking than dwarf. But now I know dwarf, and that means you have to die a lot more.
Yeah. I go with dwarf because I am short and I am fat.
I'm already my character. I'm the Raven Queen. That's me.
Which reminds me, we're making you a mask.
Oh, good. Okay.
You never see the Raven Queen's face.
We're making you a mask.
So, and that last breath when someone dies is my delight.
So pretty much, you're the Morrigan from the Celtic mythology.
Yeah, I was about to ask that. Is the Raven Queen the Morgan?
Mhm.
Don't go donate blood. It hurts.
All right. Well, I'm going to ring off. Unless you guys have anything more. Do you have any concerns or anything going forward for the next couple weeks that we haven't talked about?
For the guidelines, everything sounds fine and whatnot. I think we made a good improvement and everything to it and got everything understand it and everything. The only thing we have to worry about is like it's pretty much within our own park, and that's rebuilding.
Right.
Alrighty.
Right.
Yep.
All right. You guys
Have
are
a good night,
awesome.
guys.
Thanks. Thanks for
Alright,
being
bye.
here.
See you soon.
All right,
Okay.
talk to
Take
you
it
guys
easy.
later.
Bye.
Adios.